All we need is a spoonful of sugar and a brand new Mary Poppins to bring us back to our childhood. Everything is possible, even the impossible. Even the brand new Mary Poppins gave a nod to its iconic original with Easter eggs, which included a very familiar looking kite.
They don't want a honest, hard-working girl around here. They need a ruddy zookeeper.
Shoutouts to the original. The new movie has several shoutouts to the original, but if you weren't paying attention, they can be easily missed. Let's start with the carpet bag and the iconic umbrella. Both are back in the sequel. They're a bit more advanced for the stage since the first movie. However, Mary still has a very strange relationship with the parrot. In the movie, we also see the grown-up Jane and Michael searching through the attic. They find a snow globe, which is not only a shout-out to the first movie, but also a reminder of the popular toy you can get in real life. Of course, the snow globe features St. Paul's Cathedral, which is very prominent in the first movie. In the opening scene of the second movie, Lamplighter Jack appears to be cycling past St. Paul's. Unfortunately, the place doesn't appear in the rest of the movie. However, this was a perfect Easter egg. Another nod to the classic version is Mary saying to the Banks children that they should close their mouths because they are still not a codfish. Getting with the times. The old school Mary Poppins movie is pretty old. It was made way back in 1964, and times have definitely changed since then. You can kind of see that from some of the really well-hidden Easter eggs. For example, Mary's strange parrot umbrella is no longer talking on its own. It's now remote-controlled because, technology has taken over in the modern times. Even though the second movie is still meant to be set sometime in 1935. Although, to be fair, a non-automated talking parrot umbrella is still much cooler, and it's not the only example of getting with the times. We all remember Miss Banks and her adorable songs about suffragettes. Back in the old days, this was the women's social and political union, which made sure women have the right to vote. It definitely played an important part in the movie, and of course in real life. In the sequel, it looks like Jane Banks followed her mother's footsteps. She's a union organizer, which is just a perfect way of showing how inspiring your family can be.
Let me look at you. Well, you're not as well turned out as I'd like.
The Robin. Now let's check out some of the individual Easter eggs, because Mary Poppins Returns has big shoes to fill. It made sure it's aware of just how much influence the original movie actually had. It starts with Mary Poppins' outfit. In case you haven't noticed, Mary's original hat features cherries and daisies. Well, flower power has been replaced by a bird. But it isn't just any bird. It's the same Robin that shared a duet with Mary Poppins in A Spoonful of Sugar. Seriously, that animatronic bird really knew how to sing, so we're totally on board with this homage. Emily Blunt said that she truly felt like Mary Poppins when she tilted the hat with the bird for the first time. To be honest, the bird did have a lot of confidence and no issues singing with the original Mary Poppins. Maybe his confident spirit now lies in the hat. Ceylon Tea. Now this one really feels like a missable Easter egg. Honestly, it's totally expected when you have an attic full of items from your childhood memories, especially when the childhood memories relate to Mary Poppins. We bet the whole attic is just actual props from the first movie, or at least we hope it is, because this Easter egg pretty much indicates that this is true. Pay attention to the part when Michael carries the box with a kite downstairs. If you look at the box, you'll notice the words Ceylon Tea written on there. This is actually a wooden tea crate, which appeared in the first movie. Well, sort of. Let's be honest, the part that no one paid attention to in the first movie was the bank part. But if you do, you know that Mr. Dawes Jr. said that a bank official once unwisely loaned a large sum of money to finance a shipment of tea to the American colonies. Mr. Banks said that the tea was thrown overboard by a party of colonists. Looks like Mr. Banks saved at least one of those tea crates for himself. The entire moment is also a nod at the fact that Michael is now a part-time teller at the same bank where his dad used to work. Karen Dotrice. Say who? The name might not be familiar unless you're a hardcore Mary Poppins fan, but if we say the OG Jane Banks, you know who we are talking about. You'll have to watch the movie to actually catch this moment. It's been reported that it happens when a woman gets asked for directions to another house on Cherry Tree Lane. The woman is actually Karen Dotrice, who's over 60 now. It's been a long time since she was a little girl, known as Jane Banks, but it's really her. Her character in the second movie doesn't have a name. She's only called an elegant woman, but it's safe to say that these words definitely apply to Karen Dotrice. Seriously, her red carpet appearances are always marvelous, and we bet this movie was a special moment for her. This also pretty much means that the second Mary Poppins film had two versions of Jane Banks in the same movie. The Housemaid. Unless you actually search for the answers, there's a chance you won't even recognize some of the old faces in the new movie. But when you do, it'll make you feel all warm and tingly inside, because some of the young or semi-young folk from the old movie are actually the old people in the new movie. Take Ellen, the housekeeper, for example. Although she isn't played by the same actress, she's still the same old Ellen character. You might recognize the actress before you even recognize the character. It's Julie Walters, who also plays Molly Weasley in the Harry Potter series. Unlike Molly Weasley, Ellen the housekeeper doesn't really like to be watching the children. Can't blame her. Michael and Jane Banks are menaces before Mary Poppins comes along, but it looks like it was Mary Poppins that made Ellen stay with the Banks family. After everyone pretty much had a change of heart, things got better, and she's not even arguing with the cook anymore. Although, to be fair, that's something we actually miss.
Who gets stuck with the children with no nanny in the house? Me! That's who!
The Kite. If you're a fan of the original movie, you've probably had the Kite song stuck inside your head on more than one occasion, and we apologize if that's what you're singing right now. But unfortunately, according to the old Michael Banks, that kite doesn't fly anymore. This, of course, is a part of a symbolism that highlights the fact that the kids have grown up. The kite is chucked away, similar to how it was before Mary Poppins came along the first time. The kite was also a symbol for fun and childlike imagination, so seeing it abandoned is quite sad. We all know Miss Banks attached the Votes for Women tale to the original kite, which can still be seen, although not from Michael's box. But if we tell you where, we'll spoil everything, so you'll just have to keep your eyes glued to the screen. If you really want to catch this Easter egg, pay attention to the scenes towards the end of the movie. Don't worry, you'll find out. Mr. Dawes Jr. The name might not really ring a bell, because again, who really paid attention to the scary bank scene back in the day? But that makes this Easter egg even that much sweeter. So it was a huge deal that Lin-Manuel Miranda basically took over Dick Van Dyke's role. The second movie doesn't have Bert, but the real-life Bert did appear in the second movie. In case you didn't know, Dick Van Dyke actually played Mr. Dawes Sr. in the first movie. It was a small role and he was almost unrecognizable. And he's back for the second movie. But he doesn't play Mr. Dawes Sr., he plays Mr. Dawes Jr. How crazy is that? What's even funnier is that Dick Van Dyke's now aged to the point where he looks kind of similar to his original Dawes character. Can you imagine playing 3 characters in the same themed movies? We bet that was a pretty special moment for this iconic actor. Very well deserved. The penguins are back. One of the best things about the very first Mary Poppins movie were definitely the penguins. Watching that scene as a kid was so surreal. Come on, real-life people entered a cartoon, and they pretty much got to hang out with hilarious penguins. The second movie kind of recreates the magic joy once again, putting the real-life people in a cartoon world. But what's even better is the fact that they brought back the penguins. They must know just how popular those penguins were back in the day. And just like the original, the sequel will also have 4 of these little characters. They're actually the ones that ask Mary Poppins if she could sing for them. They also hide backstage as if they know she will sing anyways. Of course, nothing will ever replace the adorable dorky penguins from the original, but hey, we'll take what we can get. If you haven't seen the original or totally forgot about the funny penguins, it's time to rewatch the iconic scene.
Banks, shouldn't wonder if you weren't steering into a nasty piece of weather. Banks!
Richard Sherman. If you pay attention to the opening titles, Richard M. Sherman's name will pop up. Richard Sherman was a musical consultant for the second movie, but only OG fans will know that Richard and his late brother Robert did the same in the first movie. The director of Mary Poppins Returns joked that Richard's billing should say cheerleader because he'd cheer them on every time they'd play the new Mary Poppins music to him. According to Lin-Manuel Miranda, there are several Easter eggs in the music that are actually a nod to the Sherman brothers. He said the line that says, "Mary Poppins, it is so wonderful to see you again," features 3 notes of the song from the first movie. Lin said he had no idea about some of these musical Easter eggs until he caught some during a radio thing. Angela Lansbury. We might not get the iconic Julie Andrews in the second movie, but we do get another icon most Disney fans have probably heard of. People most likely know Angela Lansbury from Bedknobs and Broomsticks and Beauty and the Beast. She didn't appear in the first Mary Poppins, but she did get a role most people know from the original books. In the second movie, she plays the Balloon Lady. It might not seem like an important role, especially since she only appears towards the end for a few seconds, but she has a small dialogue with Mary Poppins, and what she says will definitely make you cry. We won't spoil it for you, but it will kind of make you rethink your childhood and how you see the world. Oh, and in case you're wondering, Julie Andrews was of course offered a role to appear in the movie, but she declined it in order to not steal Emily Blunt's Blunt's thunder, Hamilton. And last but not least, fans have discovered a strange connection to Hamilton the musical. Of course, with Lin-Manuel Miranda in this movie, it would be weird if there wasn't a Hamilton reference. This is an unconfirmed Easter egg, and we might be reaching. But did you notice that one of the lawyers working for Mr. Banks' bank is called Hamilton Gooding? In our eyes, it's a reference to Hamilton and another Hollywood Broadway star, Cuba Gooding Jr. The name Hamilton Gooding does not appear in any other Mary Poppins versions or books, so it's safe to say it would be strange if this is just a coincidence. Do you think this is a reference to Hamilton, or is the character completely unrelated? And that's it for our video. Don't forget to subscribe to The Things for more feel-good content. Thanks for watching. See you next time.